On June 15, 1389, the winds of destiny swept across the wide plains of Kosovo Polje. It was here, in the heart of the Balkans, that two worlds collided. On one side stood Prince Stefan Vukadinović, ruler of central Serbia, a man of faith and resolve who dreamed of uniting his fractured homeland. On the other, Sultan Murad al-Ghazi, master of the Ottomans, whose armies had marched inexorably westward, from Asia Minor into Europe. The clash that followed would leave both leaders dead, both armies shattered, and a legacy that would echo for centuries. The late 14th century was an age of crumbling empires and rising powers. The Byzantine world, once dominant, had shrunk to a handful of cities. The Kingdom of Hungary looked southward hungrily, while the Balkan principalities wavered between unity and betrayal. Serbia itself, once mighty under Emperor Miloš had broken apart after his death. Among the ambitious lords, Prince Stefan Vukadinović emerged as the strongest voice of resistance to Ottoman expansion. From his stronghold at Kruševac, he sought to rally nobles who had grown weary after earlier defeats. The Ottomans, meanwhile, had already crushed a coalition at the Battle of Maritsa, 1371, and established their capital at Edirne. Sultan Murad al-Ghazi, a seasoned commander, gathered an army drawn from Turks, Anatolians, Balkan converts, and his feared Janissary Corps. The Balkans were the next prize, and Serbia lay directly in his path. The first sparks had already been lit. In 1387, Stefan's men scored a surprise victory at Pločnik, ambushing an Ottoman detachment and sending ripples of hope through the Balkans. But this victory only enraged Murad. Determined to stamp out resistance, he personally led the West Army north in 1389. Stefan, realizing the storm about to break, called for aid. His son-in-law, Marko Radinović, arrived with noble cavalry, and King Tvrtko of Bosnia sent troops under the command of Vlatko Hranić, a seasoned fighter. Altogether, the Serbian coalition may have numbered close to 30,000. Murad's forces, bolstered by his sons Bayezid the Thunderbolt and Jakub Čelebi, were perhaps 35,000 strong. The chosen battlefield was the plain of Kosovo, near Pristina, where shallow rivers cut through a vast expanse of grass. Open, exposed and faithful, it was the crossroads of empires. The morning of June 15th broke grey and heavy. On the Serbian side, priests blessed bread and wine, offering communion to soldiers who knew they might never return. Bards sang of ancient heroes to steel their courage. Across the plain, Ottoman muezzins called prayers, the rolling beat of war drums echoing under banners of the crescent. Stefan deployed his army in the traditional fashion. Center, his household knights, armored in plate and mail, banners of the cross rising above them. Right wing, Marko Radinović's cavalry, proud and defiant. Left wing, Bosnian troops under Hranić, veterans hardened by wars against both Hungarians and Turks. Rear, archers and levied peasants with spears. Opposite them, Murad placed his sons, Bayezid commanding the right, Jakub on the left, while he himself held the center with his Janissaries and household guard. Light infantry and raiders formed the vanguard. The stage was set. The battle opened with thunder. Serbian heavy cavalry, led by Miloš Vojinović, surged forward. Clad in iron, lowering lances, they smashed into the Ottoman front. Chronicles recall the earth shaking beneath their horses. The initial shock tore through Ottoman Azapis and light troops, scattering them in heaps. Even the Janissaries were forced back. For a moment, it seemed Serbia might triumph. Miloš himself cut deep into the enemy's ranks, a figure destined for legend, but the Ottomans absorbed the blow. Bayezid wheeled his cavalry into a furious countercharge, striking the Serbian right. Arrows rained down, horses screamed, and mud slowed the once unstoppable knights. What began as a glorious surge turned into grinding combat. Swords, axes and maces clashed as men fought hand to hand, neither side yielding. By midday, the plain was a furnace of chaos. Bosnian troops on the left held firm, but Bayezid's pressure mounted. On the right, Marko Radinović's contingent began to falter. Later legend accused him of betrayal, claiming he abandoned the field deliberately. Whether retreat or treachery, his withdrawal left Stefan's center dangerously exposed. Still, the Serbs fought with desperate valor. Stefan himself rode into the melee, his armor gleaming, his sword cutting a path through the Janissaries. But the tide of Ottoman numbers pressed tighter and tighter. Amid the carnage, one man sought to turn the tide. Miloš Vojinović, accused of treachery before the battle, had sworn to prove his loyalty. Slipping from Serbian lines, he approached the Ottoman camp under pretense of defection. What followed became legend. Accounts differ. Some say he disguised himself, others that he feigned surrender. Yet all agree he reached Murad's tent. There he struck. A hidden dagger plunged into the Sultan's chest. Murad al-Ghazi, conqueror of the Balkans, fell on the field of Kosovo, the only Ottoman Sultan ever killed in battle. Miloš was cut down immediately by guards, but his act would echo through centuries of Serbian song. For a moment, confusion spread in the Ottoman camp, but Bayezid acted with ruthless speed. Concealing his father's death, he seized command and urged his soldiers forward with renewed fury. The Serbian lines crumbled. Surrounded, exhausted, outnumbered, they could no longer resist. Prince Stefan was captured. According to tradition, Bayezid ordered his execution that same day. In Serbian memory, Stefan became a martyr, a ruler who chose the heavenly kingdom over the earthly one. By evening, the battlefield was a graveyard. Corpses of Serbs, Bosnians, and Ottomans lay heaped in mud and blood. Streams ran red. Crows circled overhead. Chroniclers wrote that one could scarcely walk without stepping on the dead. Though the Ottomans held the field, it was no triumph. Their Sultan lay dead, thousands of their warriors fallen, but their strength could be replenished, while Serbia was broken. Bayezid, seizing power, executed his brother Jakub to secure succession and drove the empire forward with greater ferocity. Serbia, deprived of Prince Stefan, fell into decline. His widow, Milica Vukadinović, acted as regent, but the kingdom could not recover its unity. Within decades, it became an Ottoman vassal. What truly endured was not the tactical stalemate, but the legend. Serbian monks cast Stefan as a Christ-like figure who chose sacrifice for faith. Miloš Vojinović became the embodiment of knightly loyalty. Marko Radinović, by contrast, was vilified as the traitor whose withdrawal doomed the army. On the Ottoman side, Murad's death was sanctified as martyrdom in jihad. His tomb at Kosovo became a site of reverence. To Europe, news of the battle first brought hope. The Sultan is dead. But soon disillusionment, as Bayezid pressed on with renewed campaigns. Kosovo thus became more than history. It became myth, memory, and identity. For the Serbs, it was the eternal story of sacrifice. For the Ottomans, proof of destiny. For Europe, a warning that the Ottoman tide could not be easily stemmed. The Battle of Kosovo stands as one of history's great paradoxes. Neither side won decisively. Both leaders perished. Both armies bled the earth dry. And yet, out of stalemate, was born legend. In the centuries that followed, bards sang of Stefan's martyrdom, Miloš's dagger, and the field of blackbirds where crows circled over the fallen. Kosovo became more than a battlefield. It became the soul of nations, where defeat was remembered as eternal victory, where sacrifice became identity, and where history fused with myth.
Please subscribe to my channel to get the latest updates on natural disasters around the world as quickly as possible. Wishing you a great new day.